The stars looked quiet tonight, but inside Patrol Station 7, boredom hung heavy. Captain Drex, an alien pilot with silver skin and tired yellow eyes, leaned back in his chair. Nothing had moved in this part of the galaxy for years. Not since the humans vanished. Earth, Sector Earth 00, had been silent for over 200 years, declared dead, a lost world. Suddenly, a loud beep cut through the silence. Drex sat up, confused. The screen in front of him flashed red. An old signal had appeared, coming from a forbidden zone. His hands moved fast. It wasn't possible, but the signal was real. Simple. One word, repeated in old Earth language. Help. Drex stared at it, frozen. His orders were clear. Any signal from Earth must be reported, then deleted. Earth was dangerous, its past was filled with war and destruction. But still the message repeated, like a whisper from a ghost. He sent the signal to Central Council. Moments later, the message vanished from his system. A high-security lockdown was placed. Drex was ordered not to speak of it, but someone else had seen it. In the quiet archives of the Grand Library, a young alien historian named Talon sat alone. His job was to study extinct species. He loved learning about the lost worlds, especially the one called Earth. Talon had always been curious about the humans. Their last war was brutal, but their ideas, their technology, their spirit, it fascinated him. Talon had hacked into the patrol feed earlier, just to pass time, but what he saw tonight shook him. A signal from Earth? After all these years? He dug deeper. Every file about Earth had been locked tight by the Council, except one, a forgotten research note buried in old records. It said something strange. Before the war ended, human scientists built something deep underground. A survival chamber? A bunker? It wasn't clear. The note ended with one sentence. If anyone hears this, we are below. Talon's heart raced. He knew what he was doing was illegal, but he didn't care. He copied what he could, grabbed his explorer pack, and quietly entered the private hangars. One small ship was still warm from its last flight. Talon climbed in and started it without a second thought. As the ship flew through the stars, doubt filled his mind. What if it was a trap? What if the humans had left behind something dangerous? But deep inside, Talon hoped. Maybe someone survived. Maybe Earth wasn't dead after all. Hours passed in silence. Finally, the gray and broken shape of Earth appeared ahead. It didn't look like the pictures in his history files. The blue oceans were gone, the green lands turned to ash, clouds swirled like smoke. Still, the signal was stronger now. Almost there, Talon whispered. But just as he entered the atmosphere, something pulled his ship. It was like gravity, but focused, controlled. His systems blinked. The engines died. The ship fell, fast. A hole opened in the ground, and before he could react, the planet swallowed him. Darkness. Then a sudden stop. Talon opened his eyes. Emergency lights blinked inside the ship. He unbuckled and stepped outside. The place was massive. Metallic. Walls stretched high above. Dust covered everything. He was in an underground facility. Old, broken, but still alive. A light flickered ahead. He followed it through a cracked hallway. Strange machines lined the walls. Some were shattered. Some still hummed quietly. The deeper he walked, the colder it felt. He turned a corner and stopped. There, standing in the middle of a ruined lab, was a human. She looked like the pictures from the archives. Female. Pale skin. Long black hair. She didn't move. Her eyes were closed. Wires connected her to a strange machine behind her. Talon took a step forward, unsure if she was real. Suddenly her eyes opened. They glowed faint blue. Talon froze. The woman raised her hand slowly. Her lips didn't move, but a voice echoed in Talon's mind, calm, clear, and human. "You heard me," she said. Talon's mouth opened, but no words came. The lab around them buzzed softly. The silence between them was heavy. The woman stepped forward, still connected to the machine. She looked at him like she had been waiting a long time. "You are not the first to come here," she said, "but you might be the last." Talon's heart pounded. His journey had just begun. But he knew now. This was no ghost, no echo of the past. This was real. Earth had kept a secret for 200 years, and now it was waking up. Talon stared at the woman. His mind was racing. She looked human, perfectly human, but something about her felt different. Not just the blue glow in her eyes or the quiet way she stood, half connected to the strange machine behind her. It was her calmness, her stillness, as if she'd been waiting forever. The silence was broken again, not by sound, but by the voice inside his head. "You came because of the signal." Talon swallowed hard. "Yes," he said out loud, unsure if she would hear him. She nodded once, then looked around at the ruined lab. The walls were cracked. Dust floated through the air. Pipes leaked slow drips of liquid. Everything looked broken, except her. "You are not from Earth," her voice said in his mind. Talon shook his head. "No, I'm from the Council Worlds. I study history. I saw the signal." For a moment she said nothing. Then her eyes closed. The machine behind her made a soft humming noise. Lights blinked and suddenly images flashed on the cracked screens around the room. Videos of Earth, cities burning, ships falling from the sky, humans screaming. "This was the end," she said. Talon stepped back, startled. "I read about the last war, but why send the signal now? Why wait 200 years? Her eyes opened again. The blue light inside them pulsed. "Because I was asleep." The machine behind her clicked. A door to the side slowly opened, leading into a dark hallway. Without a word, the woman began walking toward it. Wires unplugged from her back and retracted into the wall. Talon hesitated, then followed her. As they walked, her voice continued inside his head. "I was part of Project Dawn." "What is that?" Talon asked. "A last hope, a way to save what we were." The hallway opened into a large chamber. It was colder here. Along the walls were long glass pods. Talon stepped closer to one and froze. Inside was a human body, not moving, not breathing, just still, like a statue. Frozen in time. There were hundreds of them. "Are they alive?" he asked quietly. "No," she answered. "They were meant to be. But something went wrong. I woke up, they didn't." Talon felt something heavy in his chest. So much death, so much silence. And yet, this one woman, this single survivor, was here, awake, watching the world rot around her. "Why didn't you call for help earlier?" "I couldn't. My systems were damaged. It took 200 years to repair enough to send a single word." Talon nodded slowly. It made sense. This place, this lab, it wasn't just a shelter. It was a tomb. And she was its last voice. Suddenly, a loud clank echoed from behind them. They turned. A light flickered, then died. The ground shook softly. Talon looked at the woman. "What was that?" he whispered. Her face grew cold. "Someone else is here." Talon's heart skipped. "From Earth?" "No," she said. "From above. From orbit." His blood ran cold. "The Council. They followed me?" She didn't answer, but the answer was clear. Talon cursed under his breath. If the Council found this place, if they found her, they would erase it. Just like they erased the signal. They feared Earth, feared humans. And now one was alive. The woman walked quickly to a panel on the wall. She touched it. A map lit up, showing blinking red dots. One dot was moving, getting closer. "They're scanning, looking for power, for life." Talon looked at her, panic in his voice. "We have to hide. They'll kill you." She shook her head slowly. "No, I cannot hide. I've waited too long. Earth cannot stay forgotten. But the Council, let them come. Talon didn't know what to do. He had come here to learn, maybe to discover a secret. But now, he was part of something bigger. This wasn't just a signal. This was the rebirth of a dead world. Suddenly, the power dimmed. The lights flickered. On the wall, the map showed a second dot. Closer now, moving fast. "They're here," Talon whispered. The woman turned to him. Her voice was stronger now. "You have a choice. Go back and tell them I am no threat. Or stay and help me finish what we started." Talon stared at her. He didn't know what choice to make. But one thing was clear. This was not the end of his journey. It was the beginning of a war that never really ended. And humanity might not be as extinct as everyone believed. Talon stood frozen. The underground lab felt colder now, like the walls were holding their breath. The red dots on the screen moved closer. The Council ship had arrived. And it was looking for something, or someone. The woman turned away from the screen. Her calm face showed no fear, but something in her glowing eyes flickered. Not fear, something sharper. Focus. Purpose. "You must leave," she said, her voice echoing softly in his mind. Talon shook his head. "No, I came here to find the truth. I won't just run." She stepped toward him. "If they find you with me, they'll erase you too. You don't know what they're capable of." "I know enough," he said firmly. "I've seen what they hide." She looked at him for a moment. Then slowly she nodded. "Then we don't have much time." Sirens blared across the lab. The lights flickered again. Talon's ship, still resting in the lower hangar, came up on the screen. The Council's boarding crew had found it. Now they knew someone was down here. "How do we stop them?" Talon asked. The woman walked to the control panel and placed her hand on it. A quiet hum filled the room. Panels on the walls slid open, revealing long-forgotten tech, drones, scanners, even weapons. Dust-covered, but still alive. "I remember this place," she whispered. "I helped build it, long ago when the war was ending. They said we had no chance, but we built anyway, just in case someone would wake up." Talon watched her as she moved. Her skin shimmered faintly under the lab lights. "You were a soldier?" "No," she replied. "I was a scientist, a designer of minds. I helped build our final AI network. When it collapsed, I stayed behind to protect what was left." Suddenly, a loud metallic bang echoed through the halls. The outer doors, sealed for centuries, were being opened. "They're cutting through," Talon said, stepping back. The woman reached behind the console and pulled out a small device. She handed it to Talon. "This holds everything. Data, plans, names, history, the true story of what happened. If I fall, you must take it." He took it with shaking hands. "Why me?" She smiled faintly. "Because you listened." The door, behind them, shook. Pieces of ancient metal fell to the floor. Red lights flashed. A cold, robotic voice echoed in the chamber. "Surrender. This zone is under Council control. You are trespassing." "They don't know who I am," the woman said. "Not yet. But if they see me..." She walked to the door and placed her hand on a hidden panel. A second door opened beside them, small and dark, leading into maintenance tunnels. "Go," she said. "These tunnels lead to the surface. It's your only chance." "What about you?" Talon asked. "I'll delay them. I've waited 200 years. A few more minutes won't kill me." He hesitated. Everything inside him screamed, to stay, to fight. But he knew, if they both stayed, the truth would die here. "I'll come back," he promised. She smiled again, but this time there was sadness in her eyes. "Just make sure they know we were never gone." Talon turned and ran through the tunnel. The walls were narrow and filled with dust. He could hear the muffled sounds of the Council team breaking into the lab behind him. He didn't look back. Above, the Council ship hovered quietly over the ruined Earth. It was small, but deadly, built for quick strikes and clean erasures. Inside, Captain Merrick's watched the live feed from below. "We found something," her second-in-command reported. "Old tech, human design, still functioning." Merrick's narrowed her eyes. "That's impossible. Earth was sterilized. Nothing should have survived." "Then explain this," he said, showing a still image. Merrick stared at the screen. A woman, standing, alive, glowing. "Activate red protocol," she said coldly. "Wipe the entire sector." Back underground, the woman stood alone now. The doors burst open. 3 council soldiers entered, weapons drawn. Their helmets flashed as they scanned her. "Identify yourself," one barked. She didn't answer. The scanner buzzed. "Unregistered species match, 98.7% human. Alert, anomaly." She raised her hand. The machines around her hummed. She spoke at last, not just into one mind, but into all of them. A wave of thought, clear and sharp. "You erased us. You buried us, but we are still here." The machines behind her roared to life. And above ground, Talon reached the surface just as the earth trembled below. He looked back at the ruined planet. And, for the first time in his life, he realized the truth. Humanity never vanished. It was just waiting for someone to return. Talon stumbled out into the gray, dead air of Earth's surface. He gasped. The sky was dark and full of ash. Nothing moved. Not a bird, not a breeze. The old world lay silent, but under that silence, he could feel it. Something had changed. Something had awakened. Behind him, deep below the ground, the lab shook. A muffled explosion echoed through the earth. Talon turned toward the sound, fear twisting inside him. "Please be alive," he whispered. He clutched the small device the woman had given him. Her last hope, Earth's buried story. His heart pounded. The council would not stop. They would destroy everything down there if they hadn't already. Talon looked around. Cracked roads led to shattered cities in the distance. The surface had been left to rot for centuries. No green, no animals, no warmth. Just ruins. He had to hide. But he also had to send a message, a warning. He spotted a broken relay tower nearby, half buried in a hill of sand and metal. It was old human tech, but if it still had power, maybe, just maybe. He ran toward it. Meanwhile, far below, in the wrecked lab, the woman stood among the ruins, of fire and smoke. The council team had fallen back, shocked by the old machines that had awakened to defend her. But she was tired now. Her systems were failing. 200 years of silence had weakened her body and mind. Still, she stood. Still, she waited. A voice crackled through the flames. "Captain Merrick's. You are a danger to the galaxy. Surrender or we erase this place." The woman stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. "You fear what you don't understand." Merrick's voice snapped back, sharp and cold. "You're a relic, a ghost. Humanity died for a reason." "No," the woman said. "We were silenced, not defeated." She turned back to the control panel. One final command, one last chance. She sent a message, encrypted, fast, impossible to track. Not to the council, not to warships, to the stars, to anyone listening. Above ground, Talon reached the relay tower and climbed inside. The wind howled around him, tearing at his cloak. He wiped dust from the control panel and powered it on. The screen blinked slowly. Faded green letters appeared. "System booting." Come on," he muttered, tapping keys. He inserted the device the woman had given him. A data map appeared, full of video files, audio logs, and files, marked top secret. There were records of Earth's final hours, confessions from leaders, hidden battles, and Project Dawn. He clicked Upload. The signal boosted through the old tower's antenna up and out into deep space. Somewhere someone would hear. Then the screen blinked red. Incoming vessel. Talon looked up. The council dropship was rising again, smoke trailing behind. They were pulling out. That meant one thing. They thought they finished the job. "No," he whispered. "Please, no." He climbed down and ran, back toward the hidden entrance, back toward the woman. But when he reached the old service tunnel, it was gone, collapsed in on itself. The ground was cracked, burned, and still smoking. He fell to his knees. "No." A hand landed on his shoulder. He turned sharply, ready to fight. But it wasn't a soldier. It was a child. A small, wide-eyed human child wearing tattered clothes, staring up at him. Silent. Alive. Talon's heart stopped. He blinked, thinking it had to be a dream. Where did you come from?" he asked gently. The child didn't speak, just pointed toward the distant ruins, and then more movement. Shapes in the fog. People. Adults. Children. Dozens of them. Stepping out from broken buildings and underground shelters. Humans. Alive. Hiding all this time. Talon stood slowly, his eyes wide with shock. "But how?" An older man stepped forward. His face was weathered, his eyes sharp. "She kept us safe," he said. "Who?" "The woman. She watched over us, protected us. And now the council knows." Talon felt the weight of it all hit him. The council didn't just fear the past, they feared the truth, and they would come back stronger to finish what they started. He looked at the people. "We have to move. We have to survive." The man nodded. "We've survived this long. We'll keep going." Talon clenched his fists. "No, it's not enough to hide. The galaxy has to know. They buried your story, but I sent it. It's out there now." The man's eyes met his. Then let's hope someone's listening. Above them, stars blinked through the ash, and far across the galaxy, the message from Earth reached the edge of a listening post. An alien researcher leaned forward, eyes wide as the word "help" lit up on their screen. Earth was calling, and this time, the galaxy might finally answer. Talon stood among the survivors, watching the small group move carefully through the ruins. Their faces were tired, but their eyes held a strange hope. Hope that had been buried for 200 years under dust and silence. The old Earth was no longer lifeless. The man who had spoken earlier, named Joran, led the group. He explained quietly, "We've stayed hidden, waiting for the right time. The council's fear kept us in shadows, but the message you sent, it changes everything." Talon nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had come to Earth looking for answers, but now he understood. He was part of something bigger. Something that could change the future of the whole galaxy. "Tell me everything," Talon said. Joran began to explain how humans survived underground, in secret bunkers and tunnels. They had used old technology the woman helped protect, keeping alive not just their bodies but their knowledge. They had learned to adapt, to grow food in dark places, and to listen for signs from the stars. "But the council?" Talon asked. "Will they come back?" Joran's face darkened. "They will. They have fleets beyond what you can imagine. They want to erase us all." Talon clenched his fists. "Then we need to prepare. We need allies." Joran smiled, a slow but real smile. "That's why your message is so important. It reached beyond the council's reach. There are others who believe in us. Others who want to see Earth rise again." Talon's mind raced. He thought about the woman in the lab, her courage, her sacrifice. He realized she was not just a survivor but a symbol, a spark. Suddenly, a faint sound broke the quiet, a hum deep beneath the ground. The survivors froze. Joran looked up, eyes sharp. "The machines, they are waking." Talon felt the earth tremble lightly. Somewhere, the old technology was coming back to life, responding to a call that had been silent for centuries. He followed the sound to a hidden chamber beneath the ruins. Inside, machines stirred, giant engines covered in dust glowing softly with blue light. This was their last hope, Joran said. "A weapon? A shield? We don't know, but it's ours now. Talon touched a control panel, feeling power surge beneath his fingertips. The old tech was alive again. Outside, the sky began to change. The dark ash started to clear, revealing stars. A new dawn was breaking over Earth, but far away, in the dark corridors of the Council's capital, alarms screamed. Captain Merrick's paced in her command room, furious and scared. "The humans are not dead," she hissed. "They are fighting back." Her officers brought her news, rebellions, uprisings on distant colonies, and now, a signal from Earth that no one expected. Merrick slammed her fist on the console. "Prepare the fleet. We will crush this threat before it grows." Back on Earth, Talon looked to the stars, feeling a new resolve. The story of humanity was no longer buried in silence. It was waking, and this time, it would fight for its place in the galaxy. The legacy of Earth was alive, and the galaxy was about to remember. Talon stood among the survivors as the old machines hummed to life beneath Earth's surface. The blue lights pulsed softly, casting strange shadows on the cracked walls. For the first time in centuries, Earth felt alive again. But the danger was far from over. Above ground, the sky was clearing, but the threat was growing closer. The Council's fleet was on the move. Captain Merrick's was furious. She could not allow Earth's revival to inspire hope across the galaxy. To her, this was rebellion that must be crushed before it spread. Talon's new friends gathered to prepare. Jorn explained, "The Council's forces are strong, but they don't know everything about this planet. We have secrets they can't reach." Talon looked at the hidden weapons, ancient but powerful, awakened by the woman's final command. "We need to use everything we have," he said. "If the Council comes, we will be ready." Night fell. The survivors took turns standing watch. Talon sat alone thinking about the signal he sent. Somewhere beyond the stars, someone was listening. But would help come in time? Suddenly, the ground trembled violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Alarms echoed through the tunnels. The Council had arrived. The survivors scrambled to their stations. Outside, giant dropships darkened the sky, lowering troops and weapons. The first battle for Earth had begun. Talon's heart pounded as he fought beside the humans. The Council soldiers were well-trained and ruthless, but they did not expect the machines guarding Earth to rise again. Huge metal sentinels powered by the ancient tech defended the survivors fiercely. The fight was brutal and desperate. Talon saw friends fall, but also courage rise. The people of Earth were no longer just hiding. They were fighting back. In the chaos, Talon spotted Captain Merrick's leading the attack. Their eyes met for a brief moment, full of anger and determination. "This is just the beginning," she snarled. Talon gritted his teeth. "Then let it be." As the battle raged, a faint signal crackled through the ancient relay tower. The call for help was answered. Somewhere in the vast galaxy, new allies were preparing to come. Talon stood tall amid the shadows of war, knowing that Earth's legacy was no longer silent. It was alive, and it would fight. The battle beneath the darkened sky had shaken the ground and hearts alike. Talon stood among the survivors, breath heavy, body tired, but his spirit burning brighter than ever. Earth was no longer a lost world. It was a beacon. The ancient machines hummed, standing guard beside humans who refused to give up. Around him, children and elders alike prepared for what was coming next. Jorn approached, his eyes tired but hopeful. "The Council will not stop," he said. "But neither will we." Talon nodded. "We have sent the message. Help will come. We just have to hold on." Hours passed like minutes. The survivors rebuilt what they could, fixing broken weapons and treating wounds. They shared stories of Earth's past, stories of courage, loss, and survival. Each tale strengthened their will. Then far above, a soft light appeared in the sky. Not the cold, dark ships of the Council, but bright, shining vessels moving with purpose and hope. All eyes turned upward. The reinforcements had arrived. Talon's heart raced. These were not soldiers of the Council. They were allies, beings from distant worlds who believed in Earth's right to live. The newcomers landed quickly, joining the fight, and helping push back the Council forces. Their technology was unlike anything the survivors had seen, but it worked together with Earth's ancient machines as if they were part of the same plan. Captain Merrick's forces faltered. The Council's grip was breaking. Talon stood tall and spoke to the people around him, his voice steady and strong. "We have waited too long. We are not shadows or ghosts. We are Earth, alive and fighting. This is our moment." The Council's warships retreated into the darkness. For now, the survivors had won. But the war was far from over. Earth's story was waking up across the galaxy, and with new friends. At their side, the survivors were ready to reclaim their place in the stars. Talon looked to the future, filled with hope and determination. The galaxy would remember Earth once more, and this time, Earth would not be forgotten. The battle had ended, but the air was thick with the scent of smoke and hope. Earth survivors stood together beneath the now clear sky, watching the stars that had once seemed so distant. The dark days of silence and hiding were behind them. A new chapter had begun. Talon walked among the people, feeling the weight of what they had endured and the promise of what was to come. The allies from distant worlds were helping rebuild the underground cities and teach new ways to grow food, share knowledge, and protect Earth from any future threats. Joran stood beside him, smiling for the first time in years. "We have a chance now," he said softly. "A chance to bring Earth back to life." Talon nodded. "But we must be careful. The Council is still out there. They will not forget this defeat." Across the galaxy, the Council's leaders met, in secret, shaken by Earth's revival and the growing alliances against them. They planned their next move, but they knew one thing clearly. Earth had become a symbol of resistance, and crushing it would no longer be easy. Back on Earth, the survivors gathered in the great hall of the old laboratory. The woman who had first sent the signal stood beside Talon, her eyes bright with determination despite all they had lost. "We survived because we never gave up," she said. "And now, it is time to show the galaxy who we truly are." Talon raised his voice, so all could hear. "We will rebuild, we will grow stronger, and we will reach for the stars again, not as shadows but as light." The crowd cheered, a sound that had been silent for too long. Outside, the sun rose over Earth's battered but hopeful surface. A new dawn had come, not just for the planet, but for all its people. Earth was alive, and it was ready to shine. The galaxy was watching, and this time, Earth would never vanish again.